Hello internet, I hope you guys are having a great day today, and as you guys know, the Eagles won, which means I lost the bet, which means I can't shave or cut my hair until next fucking February. Oh no, January is what I said, which is actually perfect because that is when I'm gonna do my Asmongold video, and as you guys know, he looks homeless, and with the way my hair grows, I will certainly look like Master Shifu by the end of this. But here we go. So yeah, guys, I have not done anything with my hair the last time I shaved it completely off. And yes, ignore the background. It is laundry day, and I have not gotten to it yet. And yes, I know I did look human at one point, but, you know, I will give you guys updates on the hair and everything, and hopefully you can get at least a here so that the Asmongold bit actually is pretty good, but... And I know you guys are probably looking for a Floppa update, so let me just move over. Here she is. Who's your good girl? Let me bring over the other one real quick. Oh, baby. Here we go. Here she is. She is not a happy camper. In fact, I'm about to get fucking scratched. Oh. But anyway, that was today's update, and on to the posts. Disgusted with Super Bowl attendees. I'm just beside myself that attendees didn't make enough booze to make Trump regret going, but Taylor Swift, a successful and powerful voice for women, gets booed. Make it make sense. Now, I think Donald Trump did get boos, like, depending on where you were in the crowd, you probably heard them a lot more. Like, I see a lot of people saying that he got no boos at all, which just doesn't make any sense. Love him or hate him, he's controversial regardless, so he's gonna get boos from the crowd, especially one as big as the Super Bowl. But fun fact, he is actually the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl, and then he announced later that it was the Gulf of America Day or whatever, so that's pretty sick. But anyway, let's get right to the comments. It seems the broadcast censored out the booing of Trump, but it did happen. Well, to be honest, I mean, even if I didn't like Obama as president, I don't think it looks good for our country that the biggest sports event has fans in the audience booing the leadership of the country. Maybe I'm crazy for that, but I don't know. It just wouldn't be a good look either way. Powerful voice for women, Lamau. Oh my god, dude, they're actually fighting back against that narrative. Dear God, thank you. She is not close to the bastion of feminism so many seem to think she is. Taylor is the epitome of lazy white feminism. She's also a billionaire and a super polluter. I couldn't care less about that lady. Oh my god, dude, thank you. So many people are actually coming out against Taylor Swift now. Like, who cares about your political opinion? I'm pretty sure she threatened to go to Canada twice after Trump's won both times, so what the fuck? You can leave now, go. You're a billionaire, go. Nah, I'm over her. She's dating a maggot feminist, my ass. Wait, is Travis Kelce a Trump supporter? I didn't know that. Patrick Mahomes reacts to Trump attending Super Bowl after Travis Kelce calls it honor.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to be able to play in front of a sitting president, someone that is at the top position in our country. And so I didn't see that clip, but obviously it's cool to hear that he's seen me play football and respects the game that I play.
Oh my god, look at that. A sensible opinion. I actually like Patrick Mahomes 10 times more now. Like, this is the perfect opinion to have, period. If you're in anything other than politics, alright? You don't need to morally grandstand. You don't need to do any of the other bullshit. Just say, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, only a few people get to be president, and one of them actually is coming to see us play and stuff. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Don't try to, you know, say anything crazy. No one gives a shit, alright? Or do it because, you know, that's just more content for me. But anyway, Taylor Swift is not a powerful voice for women. She's best friends with a Trump supporter, dating a Trump supporter, hangs around Trump supporters. She's also a billionaire. They both should be booed. Yeah, but even so, I still think she endorsed Biden last race, right? Like, I'm 99% sure she did. Just found out that my husband voted for Jill Stein. The willful ignorance and insensitivity to other minorities just hurts. My adult sons voted Kamala at least. Oh my god, isn't this kind of racist? Like, you have to vote for Kamala because she's black? That's just like the same people who say you have to vote for Trump because he's white. Different sides of the boat, but the same boat full of retards. The only correct way to think about it is if one side has better ideas, that's who you should fucking vote for, period. The factor of race is unnecessary. Did he say he voted for Jill Stein as a cover for voting for Trump? Only asking because this is what my BIL did. Oh, brother-in-law. I mean, let's be honest here. Does anyone actually give a shit that anyone voted for Jill Stein? I've never seen anyone moralize voting for Jill Stein before until Trump is involved. God, people are funny. My wife voted for Trump strictly because of abortion. Now she's freaking out that she'll lose the student loan she needed to start her doctorate of nursing. Might not be the worst thing to not have a nurse who doesn't believe in women's right to healthcare. Yeah, but what if the child's a woman? Where's her fucking women's rights? Oh wait, that doesn't matter to these people, never mind. OMG, thank you though. I can be a very tolerant of people's opinions except in healthcare. The last thing people need in a healthcare crisis is someone caring for them based on ideology, not science and empathy. Girl, you're literally killing a child because of your ideology. It is not that complicated. You are the problem. It is literally science that is what is happening. And we are the ones who are empathetic towards the child. We don't want you to die, okay, but we don't want anyone to die in this situation, alright? It's not that deep. I made the mistake of becoming involved with the US Green Party a few years back. That being said, I've never cared for Jill Stein. I think she's incredibly inept as a politician for a number of reasons. The party is overrun with transphobes, anti-vaxxers, and various other bigots, and is an incredibly toxic space. I got bullied for showing concern about COVID. I got accused of engaging in cancel culture when I called out when people would spew anti-LGBT plus rhetoric in meetings. I experienced many sexist microaggressions from men in leadership positions. The bigots and bullies run rampant on the national level as well as the local level, and many places are allowed to operate unchecked, with many in positions of leadership/influence. Jill Stein panders to them because she wants to be relevant so badly that she grovels for anyone who will say they'll vote green. I have a ton of horror stories about my time in the party and the things I witnessed/experienced. They uphold almost none of their publicly professed values and are instead a far-right conspiracy theory haven for bigots and anti-science folks who also claim to care about environmental issues. They are deeply unserious as a political party, and no one should support them in any way. Alright, I know nothing about the Green Party. I will be just completely honest now, because who the fuck knows anything about the Green Party? But that is where I'm calling to you guys. Please tell me, is this in any way accurate? Like, I'm not trying to discredit this person's experience, because some of it sounds like it could make sense, but you know, I just don't know, to be honest. Jill Stein is a clown. Now, this is something we can agree with. But like I said, as the party as a whole, I have no fucking idea. Who the fuck votes green? All the Jill Stein voters wouldn't have turned the election for Kamala. If anything, indifference aside the election. Then can't blame the Trump voters instead. Ah yes, it's the Trump voters' fault that you lost. You guys had absolutely no responsibility whatsoever in your party's failings. Got it. The willful ignorance and insensitivity to other minorities just hurts. Who do you think pays the price for the American war machine? Just because it's not Americans doesn't mean it's acceptable. American freedoms are paid for by the blood of brown people across the world, and at least for this election, some people decided to send a message to the Democratic Party that they should be better. So far, they've just doubled down on being not Trump and haven't done anything significant for Americans. Alright, we can agree with this half of it. But I mean, wouldn't this be true for all the other first world countries that we're talking about too, not just America? Like, I think lower class Chinese people get exploited just as much, if not way more, than quote unquote brown people. In fact, I'm not sure what like India and the Middle East do for us anyway. I think if anything, Chinese manufacturing is the biggest level of exploitation that America engages in. But even then, that's China's fault too for allowing the, level of basically slave labor that goes on in their country to produce cheap products. But yeah, this language is fucking cringe, as if like Americans don't do anything for themselves either. Get the fuck out of here. Men are so emotional, they voted for an oligarchy. Can we flip the tables and start talking about how men are so emotional they decide that they have to deal with their unhappiness by blaming women and trying to force them back into the home? As a woman, I can keep my emotions in check and advocate for equality for all genders. As a woman, I can calmly research candidates and then not only pick who I think would help me, but also minorities, LGBTQ immigrants, and the working class. Wait, what do you mean by this? Do you mean illegal immigrants? But anyway, I can consider how I may vote will impact everyone else. Men are apparently too emotional to do this and have to vote for an oligarchy to deal with it. So much overreacting from them. Oh yeah, while you're doing your research, why don't you research George Soros for once or something? Or I don't know how any of the other billionaires constantly lobby and pay politicians under the table to, not only help their causes, but turn the other way. But I'm sure that would make you uncomfortable, so you're probably not going to do that. 54% Latin men voters is a real head scratcher. Religion and patriarchy go together? Or I don't know, maybe calling them Latinx or, fake pandering to all the quote-unquote minority groups in America just doesn't really help your cause whatsoever, and people are actually getting tired of it. And also, not every fucking Latino person is an illegal immigrant. And just because they have family that's an illegal immigrant doesn't mean they like that family. Like, can we start using our brain for a second? I'm more afraid of the women who voted to suppress their own existence. You want to clarify what you mean by that? That's what I love about these rhetorical statements, is that, they're just that. They're just rhetoric. Going into detail about what they mean is a little too difficult for them. Or they just karma farm. I learned a lot of women believe in forcing traditional wife lifestyle. It's crazy to me, okay, you want to be reliant on that person, that's fine. But why the fuck are you voting to enforce me to require a man to be the head of a household? I don't think Trump being in office has anything to do with you being forced to be what? Can we draw the line? My life hasn't changed a single bit since Trump got in office. I haven't become a more traditional man, or my relationship hasn't become more traditional because Trump is in office. What are we talking about? We didn't start an open relationship when Biden got in office, I can tell you that. The fact he got any votes ever still amazes me. He should have been laughed out of 2016 primary, but there is some seriously bad wiring in the brains of the average Republican. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why so many people want this large change in government? I think people are starting to wake up to the fact that everybody lies constantly, and the only thing we want at this point is a smaller government so that their lies don't mean as much. At least that's what I want, I don't want every 4 years to be a fucking cataclysm in the, American political system. There's no need for that. A bunch of family/Christian people voted for him, a rapist. Well, oh my god, I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to debunk this, but, just go to one of my other videos, I don't know. That also said he'd date and fuck his own daughter. Alright, well, I think the date part was correct, but I don't think he went as far as to say he'd fuck his own daughter. But I mean, yeah, some of the things he did say about Ivanka were kind of weird. I definitely wouldn't say that out loud or in front of anyone or ever think it. But these are the same people that defend the pride parades where they have kink in front of children. So hearing these people speak doesn't really impress me too much. A man who slept with prostitutes while married. I mean, did any evidence of this actually come out? I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I don't think any concrete evidence has come out that this was true. Grab him by the pussy. Oh, here we go with this again. And every time this gets brought up, what's funny is that I've heard so many people say way, way worse. And not only that, how you talk between your friends is way different than how you would talk in public. Because I know some guys who talk like this and they can barely make eye contact with a woman, so... it was certainly bad to say as a public figure with someone who has that much power and influence. And I'm sure Trump is no saint, but when they say he hung out with Epstein, I mean, dude banned him. Fucking Trump banned him from all of his estates after he found out that he was saying some creepy shit about a younger daughter. And when I say younger, I mean under 18. Once Trump found out that Epstein was a creep, he did not like him or let him do anything within his properties. So I think it's just a little bit more gray than, most people believe. They want to erase us. Do not let them. Just reading the headlines about NASA scrubbing their site of DEI information, including women in leadership and historical female and minority figures in the program. I have 3 young daughters and my blood boils when I think about them growing up in a world that marginalizes their intellect. That marginalizes their intelligence and talent because they are only valued as a functioning womb. I'm doing everything I can to amass physical copies of books to help teach them America's actual history. I will not let tyranny erase the past for their own benefit. We are still here and we need to keep letting them know it. You know what, let me do some research on what the fuck they're actually talking about. The space agency's website had been scrubbed and changed to remove references to inclusion, diversity, gender, and minorities, among other terms. It had also been modified to remove Spanish translations per Fed mandate, according to NASA website change logs on GitHub. Further, a feature about one woman geologist, Wendy Bohan, had been removed from the website 2 weeks after US President Donald Trump took office. However, a page about women at NASA still appeared on the website as of this writing. Okay, so that's what I thought. This is why I can't trust basically anything they say, because whenever I look it up for myself, it's the first 1 or 3 links, that completely, or at least for the most part, go completely against their narrative. Oh, look at this. NASA ordered to remove anything about women in leadership from its websites, 42,000 upvotes. But yeah, anyway, if this is really about DEI, then they should move the women in leadership displays to be with the rest of the photos. Display all of it together, otherwise it's just erasing women's history. Sad. You know, I actually agree with this. It's the same thing about American history. Like, we shouldn't have Black History Month. We should, like, teach everything about how the black leadership in Africa literally sold their people to America and the mistreatment of these people from all sides. It wasn't all just white man bad. I'm 100% on board with showing the goods and bads of everyone because it really gives you a more diverse perspective. To use the word diversity in a not cringe way. They want to erase women, that's the point. Oh, look out guys, we got an intellectual. It's about slavery. They want women and minorities to be so threatened and poor they have literally no option but to fall in line. For women, that means stay at home, make babies, and wait for them to grow up and die young in some meaningless war in service of their fascist agenda. Oh, you mean like the 3 wars that started in our previous presidency? You mean like those wars? But also, I'm tired of hearing about slavery in the context of the past. Can we talk about, like, the actual sex slavery that happens in America? Because that's a much bigger problem that nobody wants to talk about. CDC's contraception page went dark. Yes, it did. The contraception page reports that CDC's website is being modified to comply with Trump's executive orders. I am so freaking scared. What is happening? I mean, if we go to the CDC contraception page, it seems like, you know, everything here is quite normal. Like, I don't see anything too crazy, but I guess if you really want to look at it, you can go to Internet Archive and probably find it. The beginning of implementing Project 2025. I don't know if you've read the document, but if you read the section relating to health, it's chilling. Of course, abortion would be completely banned, and if you have a miscarriage, the state that you live in will be required to report it because it isn't a live birth, will be treated as a potential abortion. Yeah, I have not seen this happen so far, but okay. Depending on how bad it gets, you could be criminally prosecuted if you had a miscarriage, and some overzealous prosecutor decide to go after you. If you are in a middle or upper income, it's not likely as it will protect you to a certain degree. Alright, I'm gonna just leave this here so you guys can pause and read it, because it's just way too much. If you do read it and you notice anything like wrong or interesting with it, just put it down in the comments and I'll pin it. Well, there's currently a government coup going on, so it probably has something to do with that. Yes, Trump getting elected democratically is a government coup. Good one. We all needed this from a trans woman since that tag is so important. Constitutional collapse, and one faction 100% hates women and wants them out of public life and back to the kitchen. Alright, look, I'm joking when I say this, but let's be 100% honest, alright? Considering that a lot of people live in like poverty and destitute around the world, I don't think an American kitchen is necessarily the worst place to be. Like, if I was a woman, there are way worse spawn points in life or outcomes in life to be had than just, you know, being a stay-at-home mom. But obviously, I'm not saying that should be forced upon people. I'm just saying, I always wake up very thankful for where I am and knowing that it could be way, 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 way worse. First, thank every one of your friends and family who voted for this, and to those who could not be bothered to vote, and then I guess go shopping for a handmaid's outfit. That's where it's heading. Yep, there we go, our common R/2X chromosomes handmaid tale reference. That's it. Everyone can go to bed now. The actions that the Trump administration have taken over the past 2 weeks to fully strip women of their reproductive rights and bodily autonomy are absolutely vile. Let's talk about HR 722 and what this bill means. Right now, we are facing threat of total federal abortion ban in the United States. And if you guys don't know what this is basically only text. This will probably never be voted on, ever. Much like many of the bills that are written up in the House of Representatives. But I guess these people are one step closer to realizing how, you know, government works. But anyway, and I don't really see many people talking about it because it's, you know, I'm sure there are probably many bills similar to it that came out. House Bill 722 was just introduced, and it will federally and totally ban abortion. The bill states to implement equal protection under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution for the right to life to each born and preborn human person. It's essentially a flowery euphemism. Oh, you mean like my body, my choice? That is also just a flowery euphemism. But it will reclassify women's status legally because it would give us this nebulous designated as perpetual liabilities where we could always be potentially carrying what is now considered a full person with full rights under the Constitution. Okay, what is exactly wrong with this? Like, I don't really fully understand. You know, there's probably some nuances that need to be discussed, but like, what is really the problem with this? We all know that it's another human being that you're carrying. This is going to make you a second-class citizen. This is going to fully strip of any and all bodily autonomy. You mean just like you do when you know, kill the child that's growing inside you? I think what's craziest to me about all these bans being enacted is that we have seen our governments and government officials seriously come together. We have seen them put so much time, effort, and brainpower, or lack thereof, and money moving these bans and bills through all of the branches of government and the powers that be at an alarming rate, and they claim it's all in the name of protecting the children. I mean, yeah, what's wrong with protecting these children? Abortion and reproductive care as a whole is such a threat against children that they have really just come together to put a stop to it. And meanwhile, how many first graders have had their brains blown out in their classroom? An infinitely small number compared to the amount of kids that get aborted, but alright. I remember when Sandy Hook happened and saying that is the most gruesome thing that I've ever heard. There's no way they'll let this happen again, and they did. Now they're mandating active school shooter drills at schools. They're selling bulletproof backpacks, and they're training teachers on how to interact with the shooter when the shooter comes into your classroom to kill those children. Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with this? Using your power as an individual and telling people what to do in the worst possible scenarios and actually preparing them is not a bad thing. People don't really care to address the much bigger issue at play, so I don't understand why taking the personal liberty to actually try to fix the problem yourself. You know, I don't see what's wrong with that necessarily. I say this and I'll keep saying it. At the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself. Do not expect the government to be competent in any sort of way. You can always push for government action, but I wouldn't expect anything out of it, to be honest. That's fine though, but women deciding to not have children because they don't want them. Who says it's fine? What the fuck are we talking about? Because they were raped, because they can't financially or mentally take on that responsibility, or because they'll literally die if they carry a child is not. Yeah, I think that's up to the medical professionals to decide whether they would die or not. Like, I think it's wholly illegal for a doctor to not, you know, prevent the death of one of their patients. This has never been about children. The government doesn't give a single fuck about children. This has been about control, misogyny, bigotry, and fascism at its highest order. We're officially in a fascist state, and our rights are more on the line than ever. To be clear, I am not convinced that this bill will actually be passed, though I don't put anything past the government at this point, but we all need to be prepared and act accordingly. Alright, and the rest of this is irrelevant, so we're gonna skip past it. 4,000 upvotes. I'm surprised it doesn't have more. The government is doing everything it can to turn women into breeding machines, while also making it more dangerous and expensive. Yes, women have no personal accountability or responsibility in any of this. They just, you know, can't help themselves but have unprotected sex. That's it. This is bigotry of low expectations at its finest. And there are a lot of women in the comments who are saying they're gonna get their tubes tied, which is funny because aren't you just like voting your party out of existence at that point by not having kids? Like, if it's true that kids typically vote in line with their parents, then I guess conservatives will win every single election now because they're going to be the ones who have kids. And I like how kids in these discussions with these people are always just viewed as a massive inconvenience. Like, there's nobody talking about how awful our, you know, culture or society has gotten to the point where this is a big issue of contention. Like, what happened to safe, legal, rare? But anyway, I'm gonna leave it on that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, like, comment, and subscribe, and on to the patrons. So thank you to our latest member, Elena K, and onto our base gods, we have XX Schisms XX, your local Inquisitor, and Triple X Medic, and thank you to our base legends, Kedo, Yoru Emiya, Mr. Praria, and Andrew P, and thank you to our super base, Shadow Dow, Devin Dekron, Contranock, Redzi, Aziz DeGlee, Pim Tool, Joseph Miller, Zach Orange, Peef Rimgar, Wyatt P, Seth M, and Mr. Shank, and thank you to our base certified, Bone Blayout 7.62, Crowbon, Joker Gaming, Nathan Quinn, Matthew M, Doo-Wop Diggy, Blom Green, Tom, Matthew Armstrong, Thomas Lehman, Rezu Jordan, Arcturus 51, Worm, Serbian Sicko 92, Terre, Turkey Dog, Easy Joe, Levy Velasco, Crow Eater 1836, Filler, Hilday, Joe Billy, Crocodilus, Wes, Snidler, Cog Ghosted, Clan of One, Luca Bro, Sean S, 8 Monkey, and Borovkavi Florianic 3000. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.